Annyeonghaseyo, and welcome to That 70s Rock Fan, to the latest of my reviews of Korean entertainment. This time I want to talk about Badland Hunters, which is a Korean dystopian action drama just released on Netflix, starring the wonderful Don Lee, Ma Dong-seok, who many of you, of course, will know from Train to Busan and the Roundup movies and many, many other great movies. I will refer to him as the Slapper from now on, in tribute to his character in the Roundup. And Badland Hunters is it's a dystopian sci-fi action movie set in a post-apocalyptic world where a gigantic earthquake apparently has wreaked havoc on the entire globe, but in this case, particularly Seoul, which has been destroyed. And if this sounds familiar to watchers of Korean movies, well, recently, of course, last year, Concrete Utopia was released, which is a movie set in exactly the same world. And indeed, this is in this, I believe, is set in the same post-apocalyptic world, even though it's not a direct sequel and it has none of the same characters. Indeed, has a fairly different cinematography look to it. Anyway, but there is a lot more connecting the two movies than I think the makers would suggest. So, as I say, giant earthquake of unspecified origin appears to have destroyed just about everything on the globe. This is 3 years down the line in Seoul, and a group of survivors are eking out a subsistence existence with Don Lee and his son. Hunters looking for what appear to be feral crocodiles roaming this particular area. It's a very desertified look in this movie, unlike Concrete Utopia, which was immediately after the whatever had happened, and it was very cold and grey and dark and miserable looking. This is in a much more desertified. Apparently, there's not been a lot of rain. These people, a little community, are eking out a living in an area of Seoul which has been constructed out of a lot of buses. And, there's a bit of a community going, but there are gangs plaguing them and other threats. But they're doing their best to get by until a group of mysterious quasi-military people turn up and take their friend, his Don Lee's son's friend, and her grandmother away to supposedly a better life in a mysterious apartment block in Seoul. Now, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but this is later revealed to be a bit of a ruse, and Don Lee and his son end up going looking for the girl and her grandmother. And that's where a lot of the action kicks in. So it's an interesting development if it is in the same world as Concrete Utopia. It certainly looks like it was filmed in exactly the same apartment block, the latter half of this movie. None of the same characters, and it's 3 years down the line, and so different people are running this apartment block. And these people are under the spell of a, I guess we could say, mad scientist. A doctor with dubious morality and methods, who has introduced some and this introduces some elements into the movie in a sort of a science fiction mold, and that he's managed to develop something which gives the soldiers working for him some kind of let's say recovery powers from injury and so on. So there's that element has been introduced, which obviously wasn't in Concrete Utopia. So anyway, there's a lot of satisfying action in this, with Don Lee blasting his way through various people and satisfyingly punching a lot of people in order to rescue the girl. He's an unstoppable force, of course, so it's always great to watch him in action. So there's a much bigger action movie element than in Concrete Utopia. We do see, though, some similarities to me in that with Concrete Utopia, in this destroyed Seoul, it was largely an absurdist human power struggle, social commentary, a lot of that going on. There's actually quite a lot of it in here too, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's showing that what groups of people will do to survive or what they think is the right thing to do in this scenario and what its impact is on other, perhaps more innocent people who are just trying to get by. So again, all around this notion of survival in this world. Um, Ma Dong-seok's character is like a lot of the characters he plays. Tough guy, grumpy, um, has a lot of low key one liners, uh, and he can knock out a bunch of guys in one go. So he's not the only one doing the action, of course. Um, but yeah, he has a punch, a fearsome punch. The apartment block, which is the only one standing in Seoul, again, is a focus a lot of the action. There are freak-like creatures in it, zombie-like creatures, and there's an extended, endless list of action kills. So a lot of fun there. It's a fun movie if you love the action. And if you come to see Don Lee in action, you're going to get it. It does open up a few possibilities for perhaps other spin-offs, given that the scale of destruction is global and there are people like this doctor out there trying to do shady things to allow humans to survive, but also with personal motivations, which I don't want to spoil. So, uh, feels a little bit of a whacked out horror comedy, but it has more in common with Concrete Utopia than I would have thought going in. So, a lot of fun. It's on Netflix, so if you subscribe to Netflix, please give it a go. Watch it. I think you'll enjoy it very much. Uh, so that's my thoughts on Badland Hunters. Uh, Thank you for watching. If you like this, please take a look at some of my other Korean content and consider subscribing and all that good YouTube stuff that we ask people to do. So until next time, though, stay well and keep on rocking.